Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
Here's first edition Pandemic and second edition Pandemic. We're going to take a look at both, compare this to components, what's inside. The games are pretty much the same, but just kind of the artwork and the components you're going to have. Now, with all the expansions coming out, everything is going to match this. There's an expansion or two for this one. But if you're just looking at, I just want base Pandemic, here's what you're going to get. The box is very similar. It has a little bit more of a dynamic look to it. This has a little bit of an older school look to it. Let's open it up and see what's inside. So the box shapes are exactly the same. You're not going to take up any more or any less space on your shelf. This one, you get a little advertisement with it. You're going to see the instruction manuals. So here are the two instruction manuals. We still got first edition and second edition over here. You're going to have the picture of all the components. Here you're going to have a little bit of the board. This one you won't. And a little bit of an overview here. As you turn the pages, you're going to have, on the second edition, a little bit more dynamic of a setup. And this one, a little bit more wordy with some pictures over here. Like I said before, the rules of the game are pretty much the same. You can see the actions laid out. I kind of like this better. It has more pictures and a better layout to it. This is more wordy and has more just kind of an old school kind of look to it. But this one definitely is, more of a mass market kind of thing with pictures and diagrams and et cetera is going on. They're very much the same. Not a whole lot of differences here. If I had to pick one, I'd probably pick the second edition, a little bit more dynamic. So here's the first edition board. You can see that it has little locations here. The colors are easily differentiated by icons. You have your cures discovered at the bottom and your player deck and order of play down here, your infection cards and rate over there, and the number of outbreaks over here. Very, very similar to what you're going to get in the second edition. You got your explosion over here with the name. So what are you going to get in the second edition? So the boards are exactly the same size. Everything is going to be set up the same way. Icons are different on this. I think the circle's a little bit smaller. You have an outbreak that kind of jig-jags here. And you have a space here for the upgraded components for when you get a cure. So got to play. So the outlay, everything is exactly the same. This one says Pandemic, a new challenge. But some of the things, I think that pretty much everything on it is going to be fairly much the same. I don't see too many differences here. Very, very similar, just a different style of artwork. So here are some of the cards. We're going to go through each one. So the cards of the cities look pretty much the same. This one has a little bit bigger of an icon. This one shows you where it's at, as is this one. So very similar, to be honest. Not a huge difference in there. Here's where you're going to see a difference is these player cards. This one, you're going to see a different artwork and updated ability. So this one says you may build a research station in your current city. As an action, build a research station in the city. So much more clearer on the second edition. Once per turn in action, move from a research station. So the powers have changed a little bit. You can kind of see here's the researcher. You can see a lot of differences. And this one's going to have more people in it. So the second edition is going to have some additional workers that the first one didn't have. So that's going to be a big difference there. Obviously, when it comes to this, huge upgrade for the second edition, including the additional people and clarifications on some of the cards. Let's talk about some of these components. Here's first edition. You get these big, giant blocks. Second edition is going to be smaller, but they're going to be translucent. It really just depends on what you like. I tend to like the bigger, but I like the look of these better. In the first edition, you're going to get these big, humongous ponds. In the second one, they're much smaller. Once again, I probably like the first edition better. In the first edition, you're going to get these chits that will be utilized. In the second edition, you're going to get these wooden components that are much better and a better upgrade, if you will. So overall, I would say I like the first edition better, although these upgrades for these wooden components are much better than these cardboard ones. As for the additional set of cards you get, the Epidemic cards, the first one, the second one is very similar, not very much difference at all. As for the cards that you get, very, very similar here. Very, very similar. So not a huge difference in these cards from first edition to second edition. The backs are why you have to use the different expansions. So let's take a look at Pandemic version 1 versus 2. I think there's a lot of similarities. Some of the artwork is different, some clarification of cards. Sometimes the components are better in the first one. Sometimes I feel like they're better in the second one. At the end of the day, it would depend on your playing style, I think. I think this edition you can get a little bit cheaper, but won't have as many expansions unless you're going to sleeve the cards. With this one, you can have all the expansions that came out. You don't have to sleeve the cards if you don't want to make the backs match. This one has some clarifications on cards and some additional roles that are available. If I had to pick one and it was the same price, I would pick version 2. I think it's an upgraded version. And you have these awards listed on the front. Woohoo! But they're very, 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 very similar. Thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you tuning in. If you liked it, please like it and hit that little subscribe button. That really helps out the channel. Lets us know that you're getting the videos that you want. If you agreed or disagree with what I said, feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I promise that I will comment back. Thanks for watching, and everybody else, keep playing.